Hey, we're asking the experts all weekend long. We do it every weekend, and we've got the tops in just about every career you can imagine right here in Central Florida, and these people are here to take your calls. And guess what? They give you free advice. It's really cool. Now, this is the BCN Law Firm's own show called Law 2020, and if you would like to ask a question of our attorney, we have one right here. Heath Nalos is back with us. Haven't seen him in weeks. And he is part of the law firm. He's got his name on the letterhead. How cool is that? Boyette, Cummins, and Nalos. B, C, and N. Law 2020. You can always reach them during the week at 352-394-2103. That's 352-394-2103. Or you hear the commercials all the time. 855-LAW-2020. 855-LAW-2020. Great thing about BCN, there's offices in Winter Park, yeah. Claremont, yes. Lakeland, and the Village is a brand new one. Got conference center up there and everything. So you want to sit down with an attorney and you want to run something by them, they're always ready. Heath, what's going on in your life, buddy?
Hey, good morning. Now, first, I want to say prayers to my hometown of Tarpon Springs. A police officer was killed last night, and I know a lot of friends on the force there, and I don't know who it is yet, so I'm praying that it's I'm praying for their families and their service, so thank you.
Well, and all of them, because you have a problem with an officer, they're a family, aren't they?
They are, and that's a nice community there, and they don't have these problems usually. So, and I also pray to the New York's having problems too. So, I want to give a shout out to all the police officers and firefighters out there for their service. So, thank you. We appreciate it.
And everybody, when you're going around town today, you're shopping, you're in any part of town. If you see anything suspicious, call it in. We do not need our law enforcement officers being shot at. That's I never thought I'd see a day where that would ever happen.
It's a terrible situation, but let's put the Christ back in Christmas.
Amen.
And remember what we're here for. It's not about shopping or not about the other events we do, but let's spend time with our families and just that's what it's for.
All right, very good. Tell the audience, if you would, Heath, what is your specialty when it comes to law?
Well, my background is mostly personal injury and insurance, from homeowner claims to car accidents to slip and falls. But I know a little bit about everything, so I can take any phone call. So don't be afraid to call for any question you have.
All right, very good. You can call us right now. The lines are open. I've got 5 open lines right now at 855-297-9696. That's 855-297-9696. You can text us at 21232, and you say, okay, what do you mean 21232? Who's the name? Where's the phone number? Well, it's a computer code, 21232. You put in the recipient line or addressee line or contact name, and then below that you write your question, just like this gentleman did here. You don't have to use your real name, but of course if you text us, you're using your real phone number. That's not a problem. All right, here's the text, and it says, if I win a financial settlement, is it taxable?
That is a great question.
Mm-hmm.
And the good news is, in 99.9% of the times, it's not taxable. So it's one break the IRS gives us. If you get a personal injury settlement, the money is tax-free. A homeowner settlement, the money is tax-free also. The only time it's taxable is if you had say you went to a jury trial and got money for lost wages. That could be taxable, but it's so rare that you're probably pretty safe.
All right, very good. We're taking your text at 21232.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a question and you'd like to use that all-new open mic feature you use sometimes during the week for various reasons, the open mic feature is on the News 96.5 app on your telephone. Real easy. You just press a button there, Heath, and it says open mic. And you go on there and you just say, Heath, I need to know about what kind of insurance I need for my boat. And there you go.
That's the last question is a great question. I get that all the time, and it's really the one thing the IRS doesn't get you with is personal injury settlement. So the money is tax-free, which is a rarity these days because everything else is taxed.
That is great.
I want to let you know, Bob, we're doing a BCN tailgate party at the Champs Bowl and also the Citrus Bowl.
Oh, man.
Which has been renamed the Buffalo Citrus Bowl. We'll be on the west side of the stadium on the by the Masonic building, the white Masonic building, and barbershop. We're doing a low country boil on the Chance Bowl and some barbecue on the Citrus Bowl. So anybody want to stop by and say hi to us, please come by. It's open to anybody.
So you don't even have to have a ticket to the game. You're going to be outside the confines of the stadium?
We'll be out there all morning long. It'll be a good time for anybody to stop by and have some good food and good drinks and have fun with us. So we do it every year.
So if you folks are going to tailgate, why not?
Yeah, we buy a block of 50 tickets every year, and we have Wade's been doing it for many, many years. We have front row tickets, so we have a nice little event there every year.
That's very, very nice. All right. This is the BCN Law Firm. So both of the big bowl games coming to Orlando. Want to make sure that you're out there and that you enjoy yourself. All right, we're taking calls right now at 855-297-9696. Whatever your legal question is, we'll do our best to tackle it for you and at least get you started on the information highway, if you will. And we'll be here until 1 o'clock today. Once again, you can text 21232 or go ahead. And here's one that is right down your alley, Heath Nalos. John, what's your call about?
Hi there. Thanks for taking my call, guys. I had gone to the dentist. He did a root canal and put a crown and all this stuff on the tooth. And I'd gone back, so it had been annoying me a little bit. And as it turns out, he'd snapped off the tip of one of his tools and covered it all over, and it's still in my mouth.
That sounds very painful.
Ooh.
It's really, it's not all that painful. It just occasionally bothers me. I was wondering, what should I do, and what sort of dough would you be looking at for something like this? Or would I even get anything?
Unfortunately, dental malpractice falls under medical malpractice, which makes it very expensive to litigate. So most attorneys won't take dental claims unless you're really messed up bad, because it's just so expensive, and so you may spend $5,000 to get $10,000. In the day, it's not really worth it most of the time. That's my opinion. You can call a different attorney up, and you may get a different opinion. But I've done dental malpractice claims before, and because the damages are kind of low and the laws are kind of favoring for the dentists and doctors, it's hard to make a claim.
Okay, I got you. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Boy, that's a big ouch, isn't it? Ooh,
Yeah.
Tell you right now.
I get those calls every day.
Is that right?
And they're just tough cases, and the costs are so expensive, and it makes it not worth it for most of the patients.
Mm-hmm. Do the practitioners usually then just settle out of court, or do they fight?
You could probably negotiate with them on your own because they're scared of getting sued, but the reality is most attorneys don't take those cases.
Wow.
Unless you have significant damages.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, one of the things that we talked about before the show was insurance, and I'm going to ask Keith after a while, after we take this caller, about some of the things you need to do about your insurances, and to make sure you're not spending a whole lot of money on things that you don't need. But what are the insurances that you do need, especially like if you're in an automobile? There's so many questions you get asked by the insurance adjuster or the insurance salesperson, and oftentimes you're looking for the cheapest way out, and you don't take some coverages that, wow, after a wreck, you wish you had those coverages. All right, Charles, let's go ahead and take your call. We get many calls of this kind. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I was Baker acted back in 1995, and it's been very hard to get a job because of that. I'm wondering if there's a way to get that expunged off my record.
First question, Charles, what county was that in?
County of Brevard.
Okay. You can call my office tomorrow and ask for Brian. He does the criminal law in our office,
Okay.
and we could help you out there.
Okay.
The good news is in Florida, so we can help you out. So there is a way to go about this. I don't know the exact details, but I know it's possible. So you definitely want to clear your record up and move forward from that. So it's a long time ago, and get it cleaned up.
Okay, thank you so much, Charles. Again, the phone lines are open. I have 4 open lines at 855-297-9696. Text us at 21232. We're going to take a break for the 3 big things you need to know. We'll line up your calls during that. And when we come back, I'm going to ask about insurance. All right. We got Heath Nalos here from the BCN Law Firm. 855-LAW-2020. Offices, Winter Park, Claremont, Lakeland, and the Villages. And that 855-LAW-2020 translates this way. 855-529-2020. We will be back. That's odd. There we go. 1222. Yes, indeed. The noon hour belongs to Law 2020, the BCN Law Firm. And we take your calls right here at 855-297-9696. You can text us by simply going to that smart app on your phone where it says envelope, and you just go ahead and tap that. Up in the recipient level, the contact or the name or number, you just put Computer code 21232, and you simply put in your question that way. Somebody writes in, did I win? I don't know. Did you? All right. Back to Heath Nalos from the BCN Law Firm. They have offices Winter Park, Claremont, Lakeland, and the Villages. All right. And these guys work out like crazy. You guys are really fit.
Claremont is known as the City of Champions.
Right?
We actually train with some Olympic athletes there. The track team trains in Claremont, and a lot of people do. So we've embraced that as a firm to become healthier.
Mm-hmm.
So myself, my partner Wade Boyer, we train pretty much every day.
Isn't that the home of the lady who was the softball coach for the Olympics years and years and years ago?
Yes, her name is Dot Richardson, and she's an orthopedic surgeon also. And her a relative is named Allison Strange, who's now heading the Softball Association for the U.S., an attorney in town, actually.
Very good. How cool is that?
And I work out with sometimes Tyson Gaze in the office or Justin Gatlin at the working out with the B in the morning. So it's a neat community there. A lot of world-class athletes come on, train in Claremont because of the hills and the swimming and things like that.
Keeps the mind sharp. Okay, tell us about insurances. How about reviewing your policy?
That's a great idea. One of my best friends is a financial planner. He lives 2 doors down from me, and he bought a new boat. And he came to me on Thursday and said, Heath, my policy looks pretty high. What can I do? And I looked at it for 10 minutes, and he had about $700 of junk on the policy he didn't need. So I said, drop this. I gave him reasons why. And he's like, thank you. I saved him $700 a year for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. He already has health insurance. He has disability insurance. Don't need the optional coverages. One of the big things most people don't have is called uninsured motorist coverage. And that protects you if you're injured in a car accident and someone else doesn't have good insurance. It's underinsured or uninsured. It's UM coverage. And a lot of agents don't push it, but it's very cheap. But about a third of the drivers in Florida don't carry BI coverage. So if you get into a car accident, they're not covered, then you're out of luck. So for your family, please get that coverage. Sit down with your agent, review the policy. Online agents sometimes don't give you the full details, so I like to have an in-person agent to go through it with you. But you can always call our firm up for a free consult to go through the coverage with you, because I've been doing this almost 20 years now, and I understand what the coverage is for. And there's a reason why you need some and some you may not need. So every family's different.
All right, very good. This person on the texting says, I want to set up a trust for an NFA Class 3 firearm accessory. Is this something I can do, or should I go through an attorney? What would be the usual cost?
I wish I had an answer for that one, Bob. I don't know an NFA Class 3 firearm accessory trust is for. Normally a trust, we charge between $750 to $1,000 for a trust. I just don't know enough details about this situation to quote that for him.
Okay, very good.
I assume it's a firearm. Class 3. I don't practice in firearm law, so I'm sorry I don't have the answer.
Yeah, I've never even seen that referred to.
I have a
before.
concealed weapon permit, but I don't know what a Class 3 firearm accessory is.
All right. Well, very good. Okay, let's go to Ben. Ben, what is your call about, my friend?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Basically, I did some work for somebody, basically working on a television show for somebody. They call them sizzle reels, and you shoot, spend a couple days shooting the reels, and they either get picked up or they don't. This particular guy I was working for is out of Los Angeles, an associate that I've done work with in the past. To try to make a long story short, basically we decided on a price of $11,000 to do the job. I had one initial payment after the job was done, which was November 9th. The job was completed. It was November 9th and 8th and 9th. Got one payment, and I'm still owed $6,000, and we're kind of going back and forth texting now. It's approaching 45 days. Generally, within our industry, you get paid in 30, and that's, kind of the industry standard. Now we're kind of approaching the end of the year, and he's, hey, they haven't paid me yet, so I'm going to pay you maybe half on Monday. But he's said this now a couple weeks, so I'm wondering at what point do I pull the trigger, try to get a lawyer involved, and how to get paid
probably
that way.
now. Sometimes a simple letter from our office will solve things.
Right.
For half hour of time, we can write a letter and get the pressure on the other side. If not, then a small claims lawsuit that you can do by yourself for under $5,000. If you go above 5,000, you need to get a lawyer to do it in county court. But under 5, it's kind of easy forms to fill out and sue them, and we can walk you through the process too. We do that all the time.
Even if the company is out of Los Angeles,
you can sue them as long as the venue was the job done in L.A. or here.
No, here in Hillsborough County, actually.
You got enough venue here to do it here. But I would recommend calling us on Monday and getting a simple letter to them to pull the pressure. Sometimes they see our letterhead and they see we're serious. They write a check pretty quickly.
Is that done through an email?
Sure. You can email me at hnailos, Nailos, at BCN, Bob, Charlie, Nancy, lawfirm.com.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, and sometimes for a couple $100, we can get it solved very quickly.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Ben. Michael, we're going to get you on the line and get you started. May have to hold you through the break for news, traffic, and weather. Boy, this show is traveling fast, and you callers are powering it. We thank you for calling, 855-297-9696. And, Michael, how can we help you?
I was just wondering about the whole Baker Rack situation. I mean, I was over hearing on your radio show, I guess one of the callers was saying that they had to get that record expunged or clean because they was trying to get a job. And they had a Baker Act, so I wanted to know, like, is that like a misdemeanor or a felony or something that you have to act on right away?
I'm not a Baker Act specialist, but I do know that you can get Baker Acted if the police think you're a danger to yourself. So if you say,
I'm sorry, come again.
If you say suicidal thoughts to the police officers, they can Baker Act you and put you in a mental institution for a couple of days to clear up. I'm not sure. I'm not a Baker Act specialist. But I've had friends who were Baker Acted in the past who said things to law enforcement, and law enforcement decided to Baker Act them because they're danger to their own self.
Does that have to go through the courts, or is that something that the officer can do?
It's done right away, and they can arrest you and take you to a mental facility until they think you have a clear mind.
Mm-hmm. All right, very good. Good to keep in mind if you've got somebody strange in your life. You never know when it's going to turn ugly. You know what I mean? 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696. And when we come back, we take more of your calls. This is the BCN Law Firm's own show called Law 2020. Offices Winter Park, Claremont, Lakeland, and the Villages. 855-LAW-2020. That's 855-529-2020. We'll be back. You're listening to News 96.5. Very good. Tim's on the board playing all the right music, answering the calls, fielding your text, and a lot more. There you go. 855-297-9696. You want to reach out to the show today? 855-297-9696. You're texting 21232, and this is Law 2020, featuring your friends at Boyette, Cummins, and Nalos, and they're in your neighborhood. I guarantee you that. Offices Winter Park, Claremont, Lakeland, and the Villages, always willing to give you a few free minutes of free legal advice. And they come on the radio every Sunday to offer you free advice starting at 12 noon every Sunday. And there's enough lawyers and associates in the firm that we never run a repeat show. It's always live, so take advantage of that. You don't have to use your real name. You can simply just call us and say, hey, I got a friend who's got a problem here, okay? And then we'll do our best to help you out. We got Heath Nalos here, does a lot of personal injury cases and other cases associated with that, but he's got a lot of great lawyers under the same roof who specialize in other things. And today we often talk during the breaks, and today Heath was telling a rather humorous story about a law enforcement officer, and with all the bad news out there today with these officer shootings, which is just unheard of, thought we'd add a little light to the situation. Officers are your friends, your brother, your neighbor, and they're just trying to help.
And this is a true story I found out about on Thursday. A friend of mine had an office party and sent his associate to Orlando to get donuts, Krispy Kreme, of course. And he got about 10 boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts and was kind of speeding back to get the party and got pulled over. And the officer says, do you know why I pulled you over? And this young man said, he wanted to take it back, I think, afterwards, said, you probably smelled the donuts. And the officer,
ouch.
The officer laughed so hard, he gave him a free pass and said, enjoy the party. So I would have some funny news today with the officers because it's been a tragic day throughout the country. And I thought that story was funny.
That is a funny story. Very, very good.
I couldn't say that to an officer with a straight
Nope,
face.
not me either.
I would probably end up in jail or something, but
I might hand him the box.
I handle a box. Yes, I might handle a box or two, but to say it with that kind of jokiness, it's tough to pull off. But he pulled it off. So,
officer, the fine is $140. All right, I'll give you 5 boxes of donuts
to take them all, officer,
and a nice pledge to the Police Benevolent Society. All right, 12:40, 20 minutes before the hour. We're taking your calls. 855-297-9696. Text us at 21232. Also, in the pre-show, we were talking about insurance coverages, and one of the things you were helping your friend with was the fact that he had medical on his boat insurance, but he's got medical covered already, so he's actually paying twice.
Correct. If you have a good medical insurance on your boat, for example, it's really used. It's a waste of money paying for $500 a year to have that coverage, in my opinion. Also, you had additional coverages for disability that are nice for most people, but if you have a policy in place, you don't need that extra expense.
Let's go back to the underinsured and uninsured motorist. Is it the salesperson for the insurance company, the agent in this case, are they bound by industry to tell you about these and you have to sign something to turn them down, or if not, they're liable?
You do have to turn it down. Some companies always push it. For example, State Farm. If I see a State Farm policy, I'm going to assume they have coverage because they have agents who actually talk to their customers. But the people who get insurance online sometimes don't get that benefit, and they really have the right coverages. So the shout out to my insurance agents friends, go through an agent and find out what you're paying for, because you pay a lot of money and you don't understand what you're paying for until you get into an accident. So find an agent, talk to them, or talk to an attorney, call me up, and I'll be glad to walk the coverages for you. But most people are either paying for stuff they don't need, or they're underinsured, and you can't afford to be uninsured these days.
So if somebody is underinsured and they hit you in their car, does that mean you're only going to get what is bound by law or what their insurance policy covers?
Our BI coverage has not changed since 1974.
Wow.
There's no bodily injury mandate, so people can get a policy without BI coverage. That's bodily injury. So they can hit you, and they're not responsible because they don't have coverage for you, and you're out of luck unless you have coverage. Also, a lot of drivers in this area especially are from out of state, out of the country. They have no insurance. So having uninsured motorist coverage is protecting yourself and your family, your kids, your husband, your wife. It's necessary. So please pay a little more, get the right coverage, and understand what you're paying for.
Wow. Now, if somebody is a victim of a crash and the person is not, they have insurance, but you might use the term underinsured, do you go after their assets? What do you do?
No, if you have coverage, your own company stands in the place of the person that hit you. So even though this person hits you and they have no insurance or very limited coverage, your company steps in and assumes responsibility for the damages.
Let's say you don't have it.
You don't have it. It's almost impossible. People without insurance don't have any money.
Yeah. But what about the underinsurance? There's two different plans, right?
It's called the coverage. It's both, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's both, actually. So you get the coverage, get stacking per vehicle. It's not that expensive, but it protects your family because the people without insurance hit you. To sue them and get money is about impossible.
Yeah.
I've got a drawer full of judgments I've had for years from dog bites and car accidents, and you just renew the judgments and hope to get paid when they sell the house one day, but
wow,
it doesn't happen too often. So
goodness gracious.
You might get the you might feel good getting a verdict against the person, but collecting it's a different story and stuff.
Yeah. All right, Barbara, we thank you for powering the show. Go ahead with your question.
Well, thank you very much. This has to do with, will. My husband has no will. He's 74 years old. He's still employed and doing well. I begged him about wills, and he said, why do I need one? He said, everything is in joint name, and you're the beneficiary to insurances and IRA accounts. Is this true? I mean, there's nothing.
What you need, Barbara, is probably to get a trust package to avoid probate. It's very simple. It's not very expensive through our firm. But getting your assets tied up in probate can take you a year to get things untangled. So, everybody needs estate planning, especially at 74 years old. So it just makes things a lot easier when things happen. And the expense is very minimal. Makes everybody feel better to get it done. And it's not a very complicated process, but please tell him he needs to talk to an estate lawyer and go through it with us.
Okay, why, if everything is in joint names with right to survivorship, when he were to pass, if he goes before me, doesn't that automatically revert to me?
It does, but it can get complicated.
Okay.
And for a minimal expense, you can get the complications taken care of now versus waiting. What if you pass first? It's a lot of things can happen. So it's a minimal expense to clear up months and years sometimes of frustration with the probate courts.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm familiar with trust, but he's not. He's never had one. But I worked in a financial firm, and we did a lot of trust work.
And we do a free consult too, so it doesn't hurt you to come in and say hi to us.
Okay.
And it's not a sales pitch, but just find out what the situation is. And he can make a decision then, but at least talk to somebody about this.
And Barbara, let me do a follow-up question with Heath while we're on the topic. A lot of people will set up a trust, but they never put the stuff in it.
Yeah, people don't always fund the trust properly, so that's another problem. So we advise them what to do. We try to take care of them, but at some points you got to take care of it, follow our advice and do what we need to do. But medical powers of attorney are needed for people aging. There's a lot of things you need, and just peace of mind to take care of now for minimal cost.
Okay, Barbara, thank you very much for the call. If you all want to follow up, the number is 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696. The text is 21232. And Heath, what are those end-of-life documents that everybody should have, especially in Florida?
They're very simple documents, but for example, power of attorney, for medical power of attorney, if you're on your deathbed, you want your spouse to have control over the situation. Mm-hmm. If you're younger, you want to make sure you have your kids provided for in case yourself and your spouse or both of you get into an accident and die. You need to make sure of who's going to take care of the kids, who's going to take care of the insurance policy, who's going to, take control of the situation. There, you need those documents now. It's not you don't wait till you're 74. You do it when you're 30.
And to me, it just means that's one less thing you got to worry about.
You do it.
It's
you
done.
Feel good. You put it in your lockbox or your drawer at the house, and it's done.
And how often should people review that with their attorney? Maybe once a year?
Every couple of years.
Yeah.
The laws do change, so don't come to my house with a 1974 will and expect us to update it for you. We'll do a new one for you. Our own forms are valid forms that we know and understand. We don't review wills. We'll give you a new one for the same price.
Yeah, assets change, family dynamics change. You may have the wrong person in there. And let me ask you this. Where does a will go? I mean, is it filed? Is it in a safety deposit box? Does your lawyer have it? If somebody in my family dies, how would I know where the will is?
It's not filed anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, we have a fireproof safe deposit box at our office that's pretty heavy, and we put an original copy of every will in there, and we give our client an original. The clients tend to lose them sometimes, so we like to have our peace of mind of having an original in there. We have some wills going back to the 60s and 70s at our office.
And there was something came up on estate and business planning this morning. We were talking about the fact that not only do you need those 3 documents, but also a lot of people are finding out after a loved one passes away that they don't have the passwords to get into credit card accounts, social media accounts, investment accounts, and the providers don't have to give you that password, do they?
No, they don't. It can be a mess these days. So I would everybody when they're getting a little bit older should document everything and put it into a special place, safe place, so your spouse or your children can find out what the accounts are and try to sort through the mess that probate can create.
Wow. And especially now that everything, we seem to put everything on a cloud or in a memory someplace, and it's not written on paper.
I can't even find my own passwords. My wife changes hers all the time. It's 4 or 5 we use routinely, and go to eBay or go to Amazon. I go through 5 or 6 passwords to find the right one sometimes. So.
Yeah, that can get really, really bad because some of them, after 3 tries, they kick you out.
They kick you right out.
Then you got to go back and change it.
Yep.
All right, very good. And you get to talk to somebody in India. That's a treat. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with more of your calls and your text questions. Text us at 21232, or you could call Heath Nalos with Boyette, Cummins, and Nalos, BCN offices, Winter Park, Claremont, Lakeland, and the Villages. Give us a buzz, 855-297-9696. We will be back. Here it is. The holiday week is upon us. That's right. We only have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to button up everything, wrap those gifts, and do all that sort of thing. And end of the year, your family's in town. A really good time to take an hour or two out. Let the kids go play someplace. Keep an eye on them. But, hey, you adults can start talking about mom and dad and some of the things they need to have in order, you know, because they're not getting any younger, and nor are you. Maybe you the one that's in an accident or a problem. So the family dynamic all has to be brought out. Good time of year to do that. Although it's a festive time, you also have this responsibility. Nobody wants to talk about wills or probate or any of that when around the family.
People like to push those issues off in the future, but it's a feel-good feeling to get it taken care of now, put it aside, put it in your lockbox, and it's done. And then you can not worry about it anymore.
Mm-hmm. How about these forms? I mean, I cringe when I go into an office supply store and I see people picking up a will form or a lease form or a agreement to buy property form. I feel like just going over and telling them, do not do that.
It's scary. People come to us after the fact with those forms, and it was so much cheaper to go get an attorney in the first place and fill out a form from a will to property. A lot of things can go wrong, and you want to be proactive and do it the right way instead of buying a $50 form at Office Depot.
Are some of these even, are they so generic that they may not even totally agree with each state's nuances and laws?
Yeah, some of them are very generic, and some of them agree with the laws, but they're so generic they leave doors open for problems. So when you're buying a house, is a big investment. Your will and estate plan, that's a big thing for your family. You should get taken care of the right way versus paying a few dollars at a supply store.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back to that one call we had about the trust. How does one go about, if you come to BCN Law Firm and you set up the trust, but how do you go about making sure that everything's in that trust? Is there some legal way you go about saying, this is my boat, this is my car, this is my bank accounts, here's who my beneficiaries are? I mean, where is that? Is that a list, or how does this actually work?
It's not that hard. Just follow our advice. We'll tell you what to do. And if you do what we say, then it'll be properly funded. If you get the trust and decide to put it in a drawer and forget about it, then it's not worth the money. But it's very easy to do.
All right, we do have openings for calls right now at 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696. The text is 21232. Let me ask you this. Tomorrow is the Monday before Christmas, and a lot of firms will close from Christmas Day, which is next Thursday, on to the end of the year. Will BCN be open and ready to help people?
Yes, we'll close a half day on Christmas Eve probably and Christmas Day, and maybe the Friday we'll still take calls. But the rest of the year we're open.
Oh, very good. So you will have an attorney standing by. And let me give you that contact information because you never know when you might need it. It's 855-LAW-2020, 855-529-2020. They have another number you might use is 352-394-2103. That's 352 area, 394-2103. Or you can go to BCN. That is Boyette, Cummins, and Nalos, so BCNlawfirm.com.
And we have an answering service when we're closed, and all the phone calls come to my cell phone. So I often call clients on Saturday morning or Sunday and get things scheduled, so don't be afraid to call anytime.
That is a great service. I guess if somebody gets pulled over in the middle of the night, it's good you call that number.
People call late hours sometimes, and we take care of them.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I do want to point out, too. I was going to ask you about this. What about some of these, you hear them on the air all the time where it goes, we'll find you a lawyer, we'll find you a doctor, we'll find you a chiropractor, just go on and call.
Those are paid referral sources that they actually come to our office that want us to pay for them, but I don't think they add a value to anybody. It's whoever pays for them is who's going to get the referral. So I think you need to check your lawyers out yourself and find out who's actually does a good job or is paying for referral service.
Yeah, get the lawyer now before you need him and just have that relationship. I know I can pick up the phone at any time and call you or call Wade.
We have a full-service law firm. Some of our clients come to us with a real estate purchase or a will, but they come back to us for other issues down the road. So find a lawyer you're comfortable with, and nice to have a full team behind yourself.
There you go. Put this in your contacts then. 855-529-2020. That's 855-LAW-2020, 352-394-2103. We're asking the experts all weekend long, and you've got financial news coming up next, right after the news on News 96.5.